Hey beautiful people, sending you all so much love today. I hope you're all doing well. Now the energies at the moment are intense. This window between solstice and Lionsgate are always pretty full on, but this year, for me personally anyway, seems to be more so than ever. Lots and lots coming up, lots of old stuff, seeing lots of past life stuff come up in the field, and people are really kind of facing big challenges, big stumbling blocks for this lifetime, which of course is very exciting because it means we're in a massive opportunity to really take great leaps forward. But it is a very challenging time. And that leads me today to talk to you a little bit about self-love. Now, as we all know, love is the fundamental part of the ascension process, really. If we can get to a space where we are all open and loving to everyone, all of the world's problems just disappear. All of the greed, all of the fighting, all of the arguments. If everyone's loving, all of that just disappears and we all just move into a state where we're working for the highest good of all. But of course, to be truly loving, we have to first learn to love ourselves. And that is one of the biggest challenges that we face on the path to ascension. And I'm sure, everyone watching this is gonna, I'm sure you're all very heart-centered people, you're very open and you're very loving. But to love on a level, say, as an ascended master, as Master Jesus, that is a whole nother level of love that is beyond where most of us are right now. And to get to that, we really have to learn to love ourselves first. This is one of the biggest challenges to fully opening up the heart. It's one of the particular chambers within the heart to really love ourselves. But the reality is that most of us are actually our worst abusers in our lives. And to be honest, I hope that is the case for most of us, because we have this incredible ability, human beings, where, we will say things to ourselves that you can possibly imagine, things that you wouldn't dream of saying, even to your best friend or to a stranger or anything. We can stand in front of the mirror and completely berate ourselves and tear ourselves apart without a second thought about it. We would never talk to other people in these ways, but yet we do it to ourselves. We really can be quite unpleasant to ourselves at times. Even just a simple thing like, if you're having a bad day and you drop something on the floor and, you can leap into a 10-minute barrage of calling yourself an idiot and all these different things because you dropped something. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but yet we do this to us. It's such a common pattern. And, we need to learn to accept ourselves for who we are. I've been talking a lot recently about how we are in fact all perfect beings. We are all a divine manifestation of God, and therefore we are perfect, and anything else is just an illusion. And again, that is the core of self-love as well. If we can learn to love ourselves in that manner and see ourselves in that own light as a divine manifestation of pure unconditional love. But that of course is part of the challenge, isn't it? And, self-love, it comes in many different forms. Yes, there's the aspect that I'm talking about here, where you can really be quite unpleasant to yourself. But it can even just be down to simple little things like pushing yourself harder than you need to. I've talked about this in the past, but as, most of us that we're going to be watching this, we're people that will consider ourselves light workers. We are here on a path of service to help other people. And that lends itself to a classic martyr complex, where basically we will put the needs of others above our own. And we will often push ourselves well beyond what we need to in order to be there to support others. Even complete strangers, we will, completely trample over what we need in order to help others, which is an amazing quality, an absolutely incredible thing to be able to do, to be that selfish and that loving is an amazing thing. So, please don't think that I'm knocking that. But at the same time, you can't pour from an empty cup. I love this expression. You can only do so much for other people before you have to stop and look out for yourself. You need to be taking the time and the self-care to make sure that you are feeling good, both physically and emotionally. Because if you are either exhausted or completely emotionally spent because you're giving so much of yourself to other people, you can't function at your best. You can't help other people as well as you should be able to. So really, by helping yourself, you're helping others. And this can be simple little things. It doesn't have to be some big grand gesture. But how many of us are going about our day-to-day life, and then if you take a step back and look at how you do things, even if it's just something mundane like the way that you're cooking dinner or something like that, how many times do we do things in really awkward ways? To save ourselves 5 seconds of time, maybe we're juggling too many things at the same time rather than just walking to the other side of the room, putting something down and coming back. Just simple little things where it can be an act of self-love to just go, you know what? I'm going to take the 30 seconds that it takes to do this in a calm and relaxed manner, rather than being constantly pushing ourselves harder than we need to and stressing ourselves out. And this is even more critical at times like now, or to be honest, every single day at the moment, when the energy is so intense and it's pushing our nervous systems. I've talked about this a lot in the past. The light needs to be integrated, and the way that happens is through the nervous system, and that can trigger us into fight and flight mode really, really easily. So we can get into a state where we're like kind of manic and running around and trying to do everything as fast as possible. And it's these times more than ever that's just having an act of self-love to say, I'm just going to take 2 minutes to go into another room. I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to breathe. I'm going to come back to my heart, or I'm going to do my chakras, or even 30 seconds to say a mantra, or whatever it is that you need to recenter yourself, or just literally, I'm going to put this stuff down, I'm going to deal with this, and I'm going to come back to this in a minute. There are so many ways that we can show ourselves self-love. Of course, it's absolutely amazing to be able to go as well, you know what, I worked really hard this month, I'm going to treat myself to something that makes me happy. That's a fantastic act of self-love. Or I'm going to go and do something that brings me joy. These are incredible things to do to really lift yourself up. And actually starving yourself of these things will just create more kind of long-term problems. And this in particular, leads me on to another thing that I think is so important these days, is work of the inner child. We all have an inner child on some level, and if this isn't something you're familiar with, essentially it's like a sub-personality, for instance, that is within us. It's us at a childlike state. And kind of the health of that inner child is quite often dependent on how our own childhood was. And this is something that we see classically in people that had to grow up too early, for instance, that they never really got to indulge that childhood self. And then, the inner child can then almost start to play up. It can start to throw a tantrum, in all honesty. If you are pushing yourself too hard, if you're working too much, if you're always running around the house and doing things and you're not taking time for you. And connecting with our inner child and working with them, helping to understand what it is that they need or you need in order to be fulfilled and find happiness and joy can be such a powerful and transformative process. And we can do that so easily. This is just a case of connecting to ourselves and asking ourselves, in fact, why don't we do that quickly right now? So we just take a moment and just come back to our heart space for a minute and just take a deep breath in. Breathing in through the nose and then breathing out through the mouth. And one more time, in through the nose. Then just give your body permission to relax. Allow all the muscles to soften. And one last time, just breathing in again. Nice deep breath. And then just consciously breathe out any stress and tension in your body. This just helps to relax us and get us into a more in tune state. Now just bring your attention to your inner child. You may literally see this, as you did, see it as you were as a child. And what's the first thing that comes to mind now? How do they look? Do they look happy? Do they look sad? Are they frustrated? Are they screaming? If they really want your attention, they can scream. Just take a moment to ask it what they want. What they need. What would bring them joy. As an extension of that, bring you joy. You may want to say whatever they ask for that you would be willing to do this, or it's possible that maybe you can't do it right now, but you will aim to do it in the future. And perhaps if your inner child is quite overwhelmed, perhaps it's, seems quite big, just maybe take note of it where it is in your body. It might be in a particular organ. And this may have some relevance to you as well as to what it's trying to tell you. But see how big it is in size. Maybe it feels massive, or maybe it's tiny. But if it does feel really big, that can be a bit overwhelming. So you can just ask it to shrink its energy back down for a while. Sometimes we need to just ask them just to take a step back for the minute because we need to do what we need to do. But we will come back to them later. We acknowledge them. We thank them for their teachings. And we will do our best to support them as we would do our own physical child. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Now, no matter what age you are, if your inner child asked you to go and play with a toy, that is absolutely fine. Okay, I'm just going to say that now. It's something that might be considered taboo as a grown-up, to play with toys or play games or anything like that. But we all have this part of us, and it's something that brings joy, and there is nothing wrong with that. Or even just going and looking around a toy shop can reignite that sense of fun within you. And if you get that experience, that is your inner child being happy, and that physically then flows through you, and it can make you happy, and it can bring, how many of us, see someone, whether it's in real life or perhaps on TV, and they've got that real kind of joyful, playful innocence about them, and that's a really attractive quality. You look at that and you think, I wish I was like that. I wish I could find the fun like that. But so many of us get so bogged down with life and bills and chores and all of the things that we need to do that it's very hard to connect with that and to find that fun, playful side. But those people, they are in tune with their inner child, and you can do that too just by working with them consciously. So that, I guess, is my top tips for self-love today, is take the time, to check in with yourself and with your inner child and see how you feel and see what you need. And B, just trying to make tiny adjustments. In an ideal world, we'd go, as an act of self-love, I'm going to take 3 hours myself a day. I'm going to spend an hour a day meditating, and I'm going to spend an hour maybe doing a sport you love or something like that. Whatever it is, that would be an amazing situation. But the reality is most of us aren't able to do that. So just try to find small things that you can do in your life to acknowledge yourself, acknowledge your journey, and just show yourself a little bit of kindness, whether it's just taking an extra 30 seconds to go about and doing some chore in an easier manner for you, or whether it's something grander, like buying yourself a gift or an experience or something like that. Or even, and this is unbelievably powerful, look in the mirror and tell yourself, I love you. That can have a profound effect, because so much of the time we do the exact opposite. Just tell yourself you love you and reinforce that. And really feel that in your heart as you do it. Because the truth is, you are an incredible, beautiful, amazing, just glorious divine being. That is the truth. And everyone around you knows that. Everyone else knows how amazing you are. And, these are obviously pretty cool people because they're your friends. So listen to them. Listen to them because you are amazing, and just hold that within you. I also just want to give a quick shout out today. So, of course, next week, next Thursday, the 3rd of August, is the next part of my ongoing course, The Path to Freedom, where, of course, we are talking about self-love. And we are going to be working to clearing blocks that we may carry to self-love. And these can be things like something from a past life, perhaps. We may have been through some situation where we really kind of turned our anger or whatever inside, and it reflected on us, or perhaps other people in our lives told us that we weren't good enough or weren't worthy, which of course is rubbish, but we take these things on anyway. That could be in a past life, or it could be in this life, particularly childhood stuff. Our times of childhood has a very powerful effect to shape our view of ourselves, unfortunately. We're going to be working to clearing these blocks, and we are going to be working to download a divine blueprint, or a gold print, I should say, for the perfect view of ourselves, the perfect self-love, really see ourselves in the highest possible light and restore that connection, because that can then bring in so many positive things into our life. Joy, love, happiness. Everything changes from that point. Once you start loving yourself, you can love openly, and when you're in the vibration of love, you can draw absolutely anything to you. So it's going to be, I think, a really powerful and transformative experience. So if you're not already signed up to the Path of Freedom, I will pop the link in the description below, or up in the top corner, one of these, if you're watching on YouTube. If you are signed up to the Path of Freedom, I can't wait to see you there. I'm so enjoying this process, and it's going to be an amazing night. Sending you all so much love today. Remember, you're amazing. I love you. See you soon. Bye-bye.